Hi, everyone, and welcome. My name's Annette Beckham. My new book, The Frequency of Truth, was published last week, and all the description and everything is underneath. But for this episode, I'm really going to start exploring of what level are we playing at. So before we actually go into the subject, I just wanted to welcome you back if you've been following me for a while. If you're wondering, hold on a minute, I thought this was Azria, not Annette. Please go and check out the previous videos, and that will give you all the information that you need. So, within this channel going forward, one of my passions over the past few months has been writing, as you can probably tell. Um, and I will be going into more excerpts from the book. I will be going into more around the fractal antenna, about the unified field, about junk DNA, and so on. But I also have some really extraordinary conversations with people that following them, there's just this sort of like download of information. And some of you may recall that if I mention the scholars. So I see basically humanity being kind of like the scholars because we are always learning, but we are always helping and teaching others as well. So I've been, as I said, writing, or how can I say this? Channeling, getting so many transmissions through recently with information and what people class as like downloads that it couldn't all go into the book. And so I started doing blogs because I thought this is really great information and but needs to be shared. So I kind of asked the powers that be, how else can I share this? Because if I'm asked, it basically comes from if I'm asking the questions, I'm sure other people are asking the questions. So it's exactly like the book. It's exploring. It's exploratory. This is just another way, another method, another example, another. I'm not even going to say methodology. It's not a methodology, but this is another view on the life, the universe, and everything, literally. But how frequency works with us, in us, through us, and how and what we are actually connected to. Because at the end of the day, the main point around the moment at the moment is not necessarily for that continual external validation, because there's a lot of noise out there, good, bad, and indifferent. But it's here. It's us. It's our individuality. It's what frequencies are what frequency are we at? What frequencies are we connected to? What information are we able to tune into? Not because somebody said it, not because it's trending at the moment. Because that heart of yours is such a powerful tool. And now I'm going down a little bit of a side note here, but and again, a lot more of this is in the book, and a lot more of this will be shared through the channel. Sorry, this channel, through Annette Beckham Official, over the next few months. Because if you do see me look into one side, I am indeed will start. I haven't yet. Reading the blog out. What level are we playing at? But I just wanted to, seeing as this is the first video in the series, kind of really explain the vision, the purpose, why, how, when. Because like the book, it's not a doctoring. It's not saying this is me, I'm right, or indeed giving you my whole life story. There is an element that it is part memoir because it has been me for the past 8 years and being that sensitive person ever since I was born. So It's just to give a little bit of background, but it I'm not saying that I'm unique. There are hundreds and thousands of people the same. And as I said, if I'm asking the question, I'm sure so many other people are as well. So this next blog that I wrote, and all my previous ones that I'm maybe not recording on here, are in the description below on my Substack. So all the previous one about my name, all the ones around, there was a gorgeous one around Beltane. I found out a lot more about that, which I wasn't even aware of, even though I do have quite a Celtic heritage. There's more around about beacon trees. Oh, I can go on forever and a day. That connection between Gaia and the cosmos. So if that stuff interests you, please go check it out. And I will be said reading a few out on this channel as well, because believe it or not, I am also neurodivergent, and trust me, reading is not my greatest pleasure. Hence blogs, because they're nice and short. But one thing I will say about the book as well, Frequency of Truth, that one there, available on Amazon, link below, is it's laid out in a way that I hope is also an easy read. Because if I pick up a book and it's got like this big things of text on it, now, even this is laid out in more of a calming way, shall we say. Because knowledge and information is great, but it's how it's received as well. So let's dive in. Let's dive in, shall we? So, as I said, whether you're watching or listening, please do feel free to like, share, subscribe, and comment. My email address, sorry, my website is alarianresonance.com, and I will be providing a little bit more detail around that, because I've had some amazing experiences recently around those words and around the frequency of those words as well, which I'm really excited to share with everyone. But yeah, all the details are below. So let's crack on. So this one, what level are you playing at? So one of the most amazing ladies that I know sent round a social media post that really got me thinking, because some of us have been open and, dare I coin the phrase, awake for quite some time, but I never looked at it in this way until now. So this is a framework for understanding why some people see what others miss, and what it means to stop looking outside for the answers. Most people go through their entire lives on one level. They work, they consume, they believe what they're told. They're not unhappy. They might just be asleep. Nobody tells you that there are these different levels. The system, in fact, I believe, is designed to keep you on the first level. But something happens, or something may have happened to you. The routine, so the everyday, starts feeling a bit wrong. The news starts to feel scripted or even repetitious. And it also might begin to bother you in a way you actually can't quite explain or put your finger on yet. But you feel it, don't you? So something's not quite right. And instead of dismissing that feeling, you follow it. So the 7 levels. Level 1. Well, what I class as the tutorial level. So you live inside the system completely. Work, consume, believe. You are not suffering. You are aware that another way of perceiving exists. Most of humanity lives and dies here, and that is not a judgment, not by any stretch. It is just the reality of how effective conditioning can be. Level 2. Excuse my voice is getting a bit croaky. As you may know, the weather here in the UK, it goes from one extreme to the other. So 1 minute you're wrapped up in jumpers. This isn't on the blog, by the way. 1 minute you're wrapped up in jumpers. I mean, I've got like two or three pairs of socks on, and I'm just looking outside now, and it's gorgeous sunshine. So yes, it's quite interesting. Anyway, I digress. Level 2, something stops fitting. The cracks begin to show, the news feels off, the routine feels hollow, but you can't explain it. But something in you knows something is not quite adding up now. You might have thought something was wrong with you. Something's not wrong with you. Something's right. And that's not for me to tell you what's wrong and right, but you know it within yourself. Level 3, you start questioning everything. Religion, politics, science. The people around you start calling you too intense, too sensitive, too much. But then again, I suppose as somebody who's neurodivergent, you ask the question, you ask the random questions, you ask the challenging questions. You always have done, but this time it's at that different level. The reaction, the reaction is not a sign you are wrong. It is a sign you're moving. Level 4, the architecture becomes visible. You begin to see how the system actually operates, how the environment shapes consciousness, how the media manufactures reality. The manipulation becomes transparent and you see it everywhere. You see it everything from adverts on the TV. You see it how people buy things at the supermarket. You see it in conversations. It's all over the place. Level 5. Most people who reach level 4 get stuck or may get stuck. And sometimes that could be anger because they keep pointing outward at a system, at those pulling the strings. Level 5 is where you start turning inwards if you haven't already. Again, I'm not saying this is a set structure. It's just what I've perceived by talking with others, by interacting with clients, and most importantly, within myself. So yeah, they keep pointing outward at at the system, at those pulling the strings. Level 5 is where you turn inwards. You begin to realize you have been co-creating your own reality this entire time. Now I'm going to come back to that bit in a minute. Every fearful thought was a vote for their version of reality. Every repeated negative story was a brick in a wall you built yourself. I'm just going to repeat that. Every repeated negative story was a brick in the wall that you built yourself. This is harder to accept than any conspiracy, which is why most people retreat to 4 and stay there forever, angry at the system. Level 6. Thoughts are frequencies. I know I've kept up with it so far. Good, isn't it? So, you understand that thoughts are not just thoughts, they're instructions. The brain does not know the difference between what is real and what is vividly imagined. What you focus on, you build more physically, neurologically, and in actual lived experience. I might not be wearing this top again because it's doing my head in. The person who wakes up every day expecting things to go wrong is literally constructing a reality in which they do. That isn't pessimism, that's architecture. And again, I know from my own reality, you wake up and maybe your first thought is of somebody else. What are they doing? What are they feeling? Where it's kind of, oh, hold on a minute, where am I? Or, oh, so and so said this, so and so said that. That means this is going to go wrong. That's going to go wrong. What's that frequency you've started your day off with? And again, this isn't saying anyone's wrong. It's just having a different perception of what's happening. So, in the last one, level 7, where you actually frigging started. I added the frigging bit in there. Watch a 3-year-old. See, I'm not really around children too much, apart from my friend's gorgeous little boy. They wake up and the day is already enough. The news, no, yeah, sorry, I will start that one again. Watch a 3-year-old. They wake up and the day is already enough. No news needed, no external validation, just presence. That's it. That is not just, what do you think that word is? That's not just innocence. That is a level 7. That's where we were born. Then the system taught us that we needed things outside of ourselves to feel okay. Real gratitude, the kind that lands in the body, is just remembering what you already were before all of that. The moment that lands, the entire architecture of control collapses because it was built on one assumption: that you would never, oh God, I'm getting a bit emotional, that you would never stop looking outside for answers. Always taking that advice from that one person who you think is above everybody else. Nah. Always asking, I mean, ask someone's opinion, absolutely, but then not having one of your own. Think, oh yeah, actually, what's this top like? Somebody says, oh yeah, it's lovely. And you're thinking, no, actually it's not. It's your opinion, but actually I think I'll change it next time. That you would never stop looking outside for answers. You know, this body, all of it, the different layers, is the most amazing piece of technology that is on this planet. And there's hundreds and thousands. How does this actually connect to the frequency of truth? So the framework maps almost precisely on what I explore through the book. The idea that sensitivity is not a flaw, but a different level of perception, as we were saying in the beginning. What feels like too much is often just being tuned in to more of a complex signal. And I hope you read that, because tuning into more of a complex signal. Got that? Good. There, put my teeth back in. So, what feels like too much is often just being tuning into a complex signal. And some of you, like me, have had that for a very, very, very long time. You see, because the nervous system regulation work, the coherent practices, the frequency alignments, these are the practical mechanisms of moving between the levels. So it's not as though you have to stay at a level. It's not as though you're saying, right, I'm at this level and you know what, I don't want to go up and I don't want to go down. This was more of an exploratory way of explaining maybe the what is being perceived in society at the moment. So, as I was saying, the nervous system regulation work, the coherent practices, the frequency alignment, these are the practical mechanisms of moving between these levels, of staying at 7 without being pulled back to 1. You were born knowing. We were all born knowing. And some people would argue that actually, and it's Dolores Cannon, not necessarily quoting her directly, but I saw in an interview once where she said a lot of the people that she was having in her sessions always kept on saying, I'm going to remember, and then as soon as they popped out, yeah, memory's gone. But that's of the previous lives, that's of the previous incarnations, that's of the different galaxies. The one thing that in this manipulative, controlling reality that this earth has been on for centuries, for generations, that your parents, your parents' parents, your parents' parents' parents, parents' parents, parents' parents were in that system. Some of them knew. Some of them knew and still managed to keep what I call the magic alive. Some of them got told off for it. But now, that's all well and good talking about the past, but we're in the here and now. And, absolutely no judgment here. If you are on level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, level 5, level 6, level 7, you might call it something different, you might see it differently, and that's perfectly fine. But I really hope that kind of laying it out that way has helped it make sense. Because as we were saying, there's some levels there that people might stay on their entire lives because they might be blaming everything else that's going on around them and get angry about it. But when they wake up in the morning, are they in gratitude? Or do they wake up angry? Because I know, again, from my own personal experience, when we do the breath work, because again, in the book, I talk about, and have been for many, many years, this body, as I said, being that amazing piece of technology, being that radio. I mean, we were the radios before we even knew what radio meant, probably, but the tuning that radio in, keeping that frequency calm, not higher, not lower, because that's different for different people. What might be higher for one might not be for another. But it's keeping that nervous system regulated. It's tuning in to that heart. Yeah, the pineal gland, fantastic. But that heart center, because that's where you're really communicating. Or some people do find it that it's more from the head than the heart. Again, I'm just talking about my experience. But again, a lot of this is spoken about in the book as well from different perspectives. So I think my first reading of the first blog on here went okay. I think I only lost my place once. But if this does resonate with you, then thank you so much. These will be weekly, with a few other videos in between. So please do keep an eye out. I think you can hit like the the bell button, so that when I do post, you get to hear about it and know about it. And yeah, I look forward to the next one. But if you do have any questions, or comment below, or come and find me at alarianresonance.com. Anyway, from my heart to yours, thank you for listening. Thank you for being with me. And thank you for being you. Bye.